All right, there we go. Starting in three, two, one. All right, guys, we have officially watched The Penguin episode 4. This is our official review for it. This was Sophia Falcone's like whole backstory, everything that happened to her, against her, and honestly, it was brutal. I think the first 30 minutes of that episode, like we all were kind of just like,
Oof.
this feels like torture, like
Yeah.
for
Mhm.
real, for real. For us as viewers, I mean, of course, she's being tortured, but I think the reality of her getting there and how she never killed anybody, how she was really just innocent, and she was wrongfully accused and essentially mentally warped for 10 years just because her dad ultimately killed her mom. And it was just, I don't know. What was you guys' take on episode 4? Like, what was some of the things that kind of messed you up, and at the same that time, from an entertainment standpoint, just how well they executed it?
So I thought it was a really cool start, specifically from how the last episode ended to start off with a conversation that we didn't even hear in the last episode with of course Sophia and Oz having that conversation about like or them realizing that they're not on the same page. Sophia realizing Oz is backstabbing her.
Nadia
To
Maroney.
see
Yeah.
to see all of that happening was pretty interesting, and of course it leading to her in the flashbacks. I mean, that entire sequence, there was a point where I'm like, oh my god, I feel like I don't want to say they were milking it, but it just felt like it was lasting so much longer than it needed to. Not to say it was bad. It was just as a viewer, I'm like, oh my god, like this is killing me watching this. It was just extremely depressing, and to know how it already kind of the outcome was, and just to see her constantly getting tortured, I'm like, bro, like I want this to go somewhere. I want this to stop. So for it to eventually to lead to the present day stuff, it ended up having a really cool payoff, but that entire sequence was just a mess, man. I was, oh my god, it was killing me just watching it. It was just so brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, this episode is gonna get Christine Milioti an Emmy nomination. This is this episode that like she got in the can like that nomination. If she doesn't appear in the nominations for the Emmys, shame, shame, shame. Um, I think it does the thing that was breaking my heart, which she just kept saying, "I'm innocent. I didn't kill anybody. I didn't And the again, we keep talking about tragedy, but just tragedy of how her friendship with Oz went down, and we kept saying how different like wrong place, wrong timing for both their ends. Where like he was trying to like comfort, like, "Are you okay?" She's like, "Shut up, just drive me, just drive. That's what you do." And then him telling her father what she did, but not knowing that her father would go the lengths that he did to send his own daughter to hell. And you see how our faces, it was one of the cool things because we were just freaking out like, wait, did was she not just sick? Was she like murdered? And yet the scratches on like it's a cool thing this show does where like you see the scratches in her neck, you see her waking up in the middle of the night or in the morning without a fresh air. The markings we spotted stuff, and it just and then the flip side of the end of it's Christine Milioti just going full on badass, sexy, dangerous, lethal Gotham citizen, and you sense the power switch, and yet the tiny ounce of humanity she still has with her cousins Carla's daughter, and being like, this is where me and your cousin used to hang out, and like let's just sleep here, and being like, I'm not gonna take you down. You don't deserve what's coming down the pipeline.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I thought that was very sweet. And fellas, Mark Strong played Carmine Falcone. That wasn't John Turturro initially. That's how good the makeup and the stuff was. Like
I didn't
John
realize it. No.
Turturro, and then you hear Mark Strong's occasions and whatnot, and I was just like, that's what the fuck, and oh, the essence was there. I knew it was Mark and it's his own take, but the essence of Carmine Falcone with the glasses, always wearing those damn glasses. It says everything you need to know about how he was mentally and whatnot. And I fucking love this episode. What's her name was in Arkham as well. Price, or I forget her name, but she was at first I
Magpie?
was like,
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
that's a cool. That's how you do Easter eggs, or it's
Little
just like,
deep cut,
Yeah.
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 And immediately, of course, we were just like, honestly, until I got a better look at her, I didn't even process the whole situation. I truly was like, Harley? I was kind of being an idiot in the
Mhm.
situation, but the fact that they're teasing or just showing us characters that, not are really are people that are going to be familiar with this character. Some people are, but these are characters that they can show in like the show. And this is what I was talking about the past reviews. I mean, to have characters like that appear that won't really kind of affect the overall Batman story, like, oh no, that means Magpie is not going to appear in the Batman too. Like, nobody's gonna say that. You know what I'm saying? Like, there are so many bigger fish to fry in these movies, so it's like the fact that they're going to be able to show characters of that level in this show, it's kind of exciting, because they made sense. It wasn't just like, oh look, we blinked and we missed. It's a little cameo, it helped the story. It definitely kind of screwed Sophia's character over later on in the episode, when she finally like snapped. But I mean, the whole thing, it just gives me hope, like if we get a season 2 or whatever in the future, like just the possible characters that can just get thrown in here, and characters that might not make the cut of the movie. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just really looking forward to that.
I love that you bring that
Yeah.
up of like Easter eggs, where just like this is one version of how you can do something, and how tonally, if you went full on with that character, it wouldn't fit necessarily this style, this show. But it's in this world. We're in Arkham. There's an opportunity to not just do, the rogues gallery, the main ones we always expect and always will see. But once in a while, we'll get a character like the one that we just got, and it's just like, if you're a fan, here's a little nod to you. If you're not, here's a little occupation thing you can look into that enriches the Arkham world more.
Yeah, I mean, I think two good segue points is like Mark Strong's performance. Like his mannerisms were so amazingly modeled by John's, and it was uncanny. Like I recognize Mark Strong from anywhere. I recognize that man's head. But like certain things, like when John Turturro kind of looks down after somebody kind of like says something that's like, oh no, I don't have the mental capacity to deal with this. I'm about to kill you, essentially, or I'm about to do something offensive. Or even like the small little nudges with the shades. Like he had his countenance and his mannerisms on point, and he delivered. I think the harsh part about it is for Sophia's character, which is the other point, is fully understanding the levels of corruption that is Gotham, based on how they handle mental health in Arkham. I think the thing about it, we always kind of see like the major villains in Arkham, or we'll see like small little stints of it. We had to watch 30 minutes of an innocent woman honestly being abused, manipulated, tortured, brain manipulated. It was sick. And I think that sickness is something that I don't think they've ever really allowed to be shown from a live action standpoint. We've had small little stints. I think that, the Batman animated series made probably one of the best efforts at showing different sections of it. But this episode alone showed you just how sick this was, because from what Sophia is talking about, like we saw her for 6 months. She was there for 10 years. So the doctor that was doing all this stuff to her, against her, he wasn't the first one. I think she said she went through like 5 different doctors the same exact way. And like the fact that her dad kept her there and used people to keep her there. It was kind of like the moment that she went to her brother and her brother said, they're not going to let you out. The level of defeat on her, and like her head was like seared because of them, messing with her mind. She just broke. She actually broke to the point that, Magpie or whoever like kind of came on, was like, are you okay? And she looked at her and she just was not okay. She broke. And I think that there's this interesting like segue to when she talks to what's Theo's character name in this, Ronan?
Jay Walsh, I think something like that is his name. We
I
kept saying
can't.
it was strange, but it's not. I don't think it's Hugo Strange.
I don't, I, I don't trust him. I don't trust him at all. At one lick, like when you guys were kind of like in this episode, like, oh, he's okay, like he's, no, I don't trust that ninja at all. Anybody that allows himself to kind of just be there, there's something else there. But he played it really good. He played the cool,
I don't think we were okay with it. I'm just saying, like, oh, he actually felt bad that, like, man, she's screwed now, and like to an extent, I think he did feel bad. I did think he feel bad.
I think remorse is maybe possible, or empathy possibly, but I do not trust that man at all. And I think that him being in a facility like that is telling. Like he's just too clean cut for me to just trust.
No, for sure. But to say that he didn't have any like remorse or sympathy is, I mean, when all the dialogue points to that. I mean, he literally wasn't even talking to Sophia and was trying to encourage the other doctor. Like, what if she's telling the truth? Like, what if, like, we're doing this for nothing? You know what I'm saying? Like, he wouldn't have said that shit if he didn't feel as though, this was a waste. You know what I mean? I don't know, man. I mean, it's not a matter of, oh shit, like we're being too trustworthy. He said that to somebody who wasn't Sophia. He said that to his boss. Like that it's not a matter of, oh shoot, maybe he's lying about it. Like he's
shady,
sympathetic about it.
He's shady, but like there was sympathy.
Yes. I don't know if he did that shit on purpose, but that is fucking hilarious.
So that's cool. But there's just the thing that I have issue with that. Sophia is one person, and you think Sophia is the only person that happened to, and he still stays there for 10 years? Get out of my face.
Yeah. He was there for 10 years?
Can't. Yes, the whole entire stint he was there. And so
I always forget she was there for 10. No, that's fair. No, I know, but I mean, everyone there is fucking nuts. I mean, I'm gonna be like, bro. I mean,
anyway, I think that they let us see the sick side of Arkham without even showing any big rogue characters. It was just like, even that one girl that was like a plant to try to, entice Sophia to kill her.
The ended.
And she stabbed herself anyway, and they still proceeded to use electroshock therapy against her, even though she didn't do nothing. Like it legit broke my heart, bro.
Yeah, no, it's messed up.
And it's like she ended up being a killer because of Arkham.
Yeah, I want to clarify. I'm not trying to defend that guy because he's still a shithead, but I am trying to say that I do feel as though he had some sympathy. But I in no way want to defend his actions, because at the end of the day, he was there, he did what he did, and he's still a fucking dickhead. But I mean, I do want to clarify that I do feel as though out of everyone there, he did have an ounce of sympathy. It doesn't mean anything, but I'm just trying to point that out.
I just don't trust people. It's all good. But yeah, other segue to this is the fact that, honestly, outside of the flashbacks, Penguin wasn't in this episode. You know what I'm saying? Like, this was all Sophia. Like, the flashback has Penguin in it, but outside of that, we didn't see him present day the whole entire term, because it was so interesting when she went to the dinner table, kind of got her drink, and was just like, okay, we're going to hash this out. We're going to talk about it. Let's have like a family actual process in this. Like, I wanted you guys to tell me, what did you think she was going to do? Because I honestly, the whole entire scene was unnerving, because I really had no idea what she was trying to do. Or if she was just, it felt like, what's a good example? Like, you know how the Joker, like sometimes he'll just make a joke or he's going to kill you. And I didn't know if she was just kind of like, I don't care about you guys anyway, I'm just going to leave. Or if she was going to kill him.
I feel, I don't know what she was going to do, all except for just two things. I don't think she was going to harm the little girl. And I feel like she was finally going to vent what she's been holding in those 10 years in Arkham. He's like, you're supposed to be my family, and none of you stood up for me. None of you said a single fucking thing. And I think it's when I remember it broke my heart a little bit when she saw the letters of whoever signed it. Like, oh yeah, she's crazy. She's been crazy. And she saw her cousin Carla's name pop up, and you're like, what the fuck, man? Like we were supposed to be, you know, and yeah, I think I loved everything where she was just getting food, and then Luthen or whatever his name is was saying a speech and just beep, 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 with the full wine and whatnot, and I just I think that's what I loved about this episode. It just showcased what Christine was able to do when she was post Arkham, Sophia, and how you're like you don't know if she's gonna smile or have a moment of humanity, or she was just planning how am I gonna kill this person? How am I gonna torture them? And how flashback Sophia was very much alive and wanted to do philanthropist stuff
She
and was
had her
trying to
innocence,
do
yeah.
a cause, and how much again there's another sweet moment between her and Oz where she when her brother calls him the penguin, she said don't call him that, don't call him that. Yeah, I didn't know what she was gonna do except that don't kill a kid, say what you gotta say, and then God help all those people at the table.
Yeah. It was this, I don't know, it was like literally watching a person transform into a superpower from so much tragedy and just manipulation. It was rough. And then when you actually see her take the little girl into the greenhouse, I was like, what is happening right now? Like, what is she doing? Like, I really, even that moment was unsettling to me because I kind of felt like you. I was like, she's never gonna do anything to the girl. But I was like, what if she uses this as a catalyst to just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna kill the girl. Y'all could care less about me. Why should I care about her? Like, I really didn't know. It was really unnerving. But then when she woke up and she had her little moment, and the soundtrack for that moment, her walking past all these gassed out bodies, I was like, this show is. Do you guys feel like this show is more rated R than the Batman is?
Yeah.
Oh, are you kidding me? Yeah, I mean,
Because
seeing Oz's foot was enough already. I was like, oh Jesus! I was like, what happened there? Yeah, I think with the not just the visuals, but what they're willing to talk about.
I mean, the Batman was rated PG-13. I mean, this is a whole different vibe. I mean, we were seeing brains on the table. We're seeing a whole bunch of different crap like that. I don't think we would have seen in the Batman. And the Batman was dark. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, this is extremely needed, and I feel like this is what a lot of the other, Gotham's kind of lack. Again, all you get it gets the point across, but um, the fact is, Batman is who he is because of how messed up things are in Gotham, and to see things at and again, I know that a lot of people might have a different opinion, but from a storytelling perspective, I know it doesn't always need to be handed to you, the violence and all that, to see how things actually are, but to actually see it, how people are like, just the way people are going, it's not being sugar-coated, and it's kind of highlighting how dark and how needed, he is in such a sick city,
It,
and I feel like,
it reminds me a lot of when I used to grow up watching the Batman animated series, and how it would walk that line of like, this is dark, but it's for kids, and like you would be like, yo, the implications are dark. And then I remember when it continued on in Batman Beyond, and then to me the perfect example of like how it's still in that same universe and yet it's willing to go to these depths of
yeah,
darkness. When we got to Return of the Joker, and you see what the Joker put Tim Drake through, and how you see
mhm.
that scene, you know what I'm talking about. That it's like it's in the same universe, and you could do that in this story, but maybe you wouldn't do it in this story. And I think
Exactly.
it's the beauty of the connection this has with the Batman.
And I
Batman
think,
is doing his detective stuff, but yet you want to go full gangster and like no bodies are left unkilled. You go do the Penguin.
yeah, and I think that's the perfect point, because it boils down to all the other shows or movies, whatever, having the implications, but to be able to actually see it, for it to be handed to you, it's a different taste, like the fact that we have to cover our eyes or look away because sometimes we're just like, the shock value is just throwing us off. Like, this is an everyday thing for them. You know what I'm saying? So again, it just for me specifically, it makes things, a little, I prefer it this way. Whereas if we got, say, a Superman film or a Superman movie, there's no need for it to be, in my opinion, rated R. I just feel as though it just comes down to what's necessary for his character, and I feel like it fits.
Tone and vibe. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. What did you guys closing thoughts on this episode? What was the biggest impact that you got from episode 4?
This is either my favorite or second favorite one. Like it's right in that line of like which episode I like most. This one, calling it. Christine is getting the Emmy nomination. I can't wait. I can't wait for fans to watch this and just how people can like team Sophia and how like they want her now as the head crime boss now. It's a very, very great. That's how you know where you like you don't just want to focus on the main lead. Like, ooh, I want to see where that goes, and don't let that trailing down behind because of budgetary reasons or ratings. No. The character has been through the ringer, and the actress has been putting in the work. Go more with her, and yeah, I rated A with a gas mask, and I think it's gonna be. Who knows how this show concludes the season, but I feel like it's going to be a staple of this series and of the saga of Batman. Like, this is extraordinary story. Extraordinary.
Yeah, I think I'm giving it an A as well. I mean, this has been a solid, like a really, really, really good episode. And again, talking about Sophia, talking about Christina, right?
Christina Milioti.
I definitely have her and so I think her name's like Anna Sawai, the woman from Shogun. Them two are the like one of them needs to win something when the Emmys come around. I mean, they're just they both were phenomenal, but to see her to see Sophia kind of make her up, become an up and comer, it's been really interesting considering when we started the show, I truly believed it was just going to be Oz making his way up, and the fact that we're seeing and caring about someone, in my opinion, as equal, to Oz himself, make her way up and to get that status. It's just been so entertaining to me. And I don't know, I'm loving what I'm seeing. I love that it's not just Oz making his way up. We're seeing some good competition. It's been really fun.
Yeah, I just want to comment and say thank you, Warner Brothers, for taking a chance on the show like this.
Yes.
I'm looking forward to see what you do with Dune. In that series,
man,
I think the thing that gets me with this is that you can watch this show right without having watched the Batman.
Exactly.
But if you did watch the Batman and you were watching Sophia going over her head, like what happened to her mom, and the pieces started fitting for us, we were like, wait, but Selena, like I was like,
they mentioned Yolanda, it's like
right, yeah. and then when we realized it, and then when they showed it, it just made this feel so much more. This honestly feels more connected to a universe than anything DC has ever done in a very long time, because it feels like this is all off the same beating path, and I think that we've been waiting for something like this for a very long time. Absolutely, the actress playing the role of Sophia nailed it. This was her magnum opus of performance, and for me, this is A+. I think that each episode has been better and better and better, and this right now is at the top right now. Although we got some stuff to talk about later, but yeah, this is an A for me. Absolutely. Yeah, we're good for tonight. Busy. Where can everybody find your content?
Busy Braun everywhere. Busy Reactions on Instagram and over on Ronan and TeamJVS's channel.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Ronan, where can everybody find your content?
You can find me at Ronan Unchained on YouTube, Twitter, Threads, TikTok. Best believe that the coverage will continue on, and I can't wait to talk about this show as a whole once it concludes. So,
yes, sir. Excited. Yes, sir. But you guys, we'll be back. If you are intrigued to see if we're going to keep talking about this, we absolutely are. We're going to go through each episode. So thank you for holding stand with us, and we'll be back. Peace, people.
Filing out the top of the
I can see the skyline, 50 mile radius on my timeline. Ain't nothing on my mind.